Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creative Blog and Article Writing Show. And I'm wearing this today, my heart mug, because I'm feeling kind of, I don't know, kind of loving towards people, because we should, because there isn't enough love going around at the moment. So there's my heart mug. And although I'm drinking my green stuff at the moment, but I've only got this to show you right now. I'm Sab in Paris, and I am going to talk about writing and words for the next hour or so, or maybe less. It depends. Feel free to say hello if you want. If you're watching, I would love to hear from you. If you're watching the replay, say hello. And this is one of 4 shows, count them, 4 shows. The first one is on a Tuesday. It's about smartphone photography or photography in general. The next one is on a Thursday. That's this. And it's the Creative Blog and Article Writing Show. I talk about writing and words. The next one is next Tuesday, which is all about creativity itself, especially things like creating things with your hands, like painting, for example, and actually how to be more creative. And the last one on the following Thursday is about Paris. It's my Paris show. So that's 4 shows over 2 weeks, and then I repeat. So today I'm going to throw some writing at you. Now I've got a group, and it's called the Creative. Let me see if I can share my screen. I haven't set this up properly yet. Let me just do this before your very eyes. So I'm going to share my screen. Now, if you're not a member of the Creative Blog and Article Writing group yet, please join. And you can contribute your writing, and we can have nice chats about all things words. All right, so it looks something like this. Bring it back to the home page here. There we go. So you'll see when the live show is up on the edge there, on the banner. It says the next live show, 3rd of March. And what do you know? It's the 3rd of March. You're watching it. And the theme is War and Peace, although I've only just started this up again, so don't have any contributions yet. But there will be a weekly theme or a bi-weekly theme. Probably bi-weekly might be good, because then the show can be devoted to that. So a load of stuff I'm going to share with you. I'm going to start by showing you something new. I had an idea last week. Have you heard of that game, which is called Wordle? It's this game which is based on finding a 5-letter word. And you go to somewhere like the New York Times, because they bought it, NewYorkTimes.Wordle, and that should let us find it. Yeah, there we go. So I created a game having seen this. I think I did this attempt earlier with someone, and that's as far as I got. And it's quite simple. So I'd like you to compare this with my version. Now, you start at the top. You get 6 guesses. You start at the top with any 5-letter word. And then if there's a letter in the right place, literally the right letter in the right place, you get a green tile. If you've got the right letter, but it's not in the right place, you get a yellow tile. And the grey ones mean that those letters aren't in the word. And then you guess again, and you try to get it before the end. If you get it within 6 guesses, you have 1. It's basically Mastermind from decades ago, but transferred to letters. And it went viral. It went crazy. Millions of people were doing it. And then the New York Times made an offer, and the guy accepted for more than $1 million, a 7-figure number. And now this is part of the New York Times. Will it lose its charm? That's what people are asking. But I'm asking you, I'm going to ask you a question. Does it actually have any charm? It's fun. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's frustrating as well, but it's always the same. It's always exactly the same. So there's this consistency. You put in your 5-letter word, you see what's green, you see what's yellow, and you try and find the word. Okay. But I thought I could make something much more fun. So this is called Wordle, and I created the, wait for it, Fundle. I created the Fundle. So the Fundle is now a thing, folks. So if you go to, I'm going to show you mine. I'd like you to compare it. So this is a word game you can play every single day. And if you go to the website Daily Fundle, this is what happens. So it's a daily game. It's a word game. That's fun. Or if you prefer a word game, that's fun. Or a word game, that's fun. So there's a slight subtlety there. I'll leave you to work that out. And what happens is you get 6 turns, 6 guesses, just like in Wordle, but that's kind of where the similarity ends. I've got frogs. They don't have frogs. I've got frogs. And you get 6 guesses, but you get a clue. So here's the clue. Lots of people do this immediately. Front page, you've got the latest Fundle. And you put in, okay, lots of people do this. Let's say sleep. And then you click. So you've got 6 frogs. The frogs represent the 6 guesses. So, okay, it wasn't sleep. It says, oh dear, you're not a red fundler today. But then very few people are. Now go for orange clue number 2. So the red frog is gone, but you've got 5 more frogs. And the second clue is it's very physical. Okay, so what was the first clue? I've forgotten already. A lot of people do this. Sleep. It's very physical, so it's not sleep. So let's say run. And is it run? Let's see. Here's the excitement. What's it going to be? Oh, no. You're not an orange fundler today. Go for the yellow clue. You got 4 more frogs left. 4 more clues. I'm just going through this quickly, and then I'll explain why I think it's really, really good. So here's the third clue. You can do it in any open space. Okay, so the clues accumulate, and so you can add them together. It's still the same word. So a lot of people do this. It's very physical. You can do it in any open space. I chose running last time. It wasn't run. Maybe play. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you keep going forward, and all of a sudden, all of the clues will add together, and you will realize that what it is. That's the idea. I try to make it that with the 6th clue, you have enough. Most people have enough to get it. So that doesn't help. So clue number 4, I've got 3 frogs left. So clue number 4 is, change the size a bit. There we go. So clue number 4 is people love watching this too. So it's an activity you can play, maybe do outside. It's active, physical. People love watching it. Shall we have people love watching it? Maybe it's some sort of spectator sport. Tennis. What about tennis? You can do tennis in any way. You've got a big space, can't you? Okay, tennis. Here we go. Is it going to be tennis? No. Oh, no. I've got 2 frogs left. I can do this. I'm showing you Fundle, by the way, folks. This is my brand new word game. Maybe better than Wordle and definitely more fun. So here's clue number 5. You need some sort of ball. Okay, so it's a sport. I guess you can do it anywhere outside. It's very physical. Lots of people do it. People love watching it as well. Okay, I'm going to say rugby. I'm going to put rugby. I kind of know what it is now, but I'm not going to say. So I think it's probably rugby. And is it rugby? Oh, no. I've only got 1 clue left. Do you have an idea what it is? Well, here's the clue. And the clue is it's probably the world's most popular sport. Oh, of course. I think I know what it is. Football. Submit. Something's happening. Ah, there it is. You did it. You're a proud purple fundler. So you're a fundler if you play Fundle. And if, depending on how many clues you need, you get a name. So you're a proud purple fundler. So as I said, I try to make the clues. Some of them are really obscure. Some of them are really obvious. Some of them are clever. Some of them are sneaky. But the idea is that there's something for everyone, even language learners. So I did this very much with my language learners in mind. but then I realized it could easily be fun for anybody. So it's not about learning English, but it would be fun if you are, I think. And I want it that most people can get the answer by clue 6. As with Fundle, as with Wordle, one of the things that made it go viral was that you could easily post your result in Facebook, for example. So I've made this one on the left, you copy and paste. So you can literally copy this, like click and copy, and then you just paste it into a social media post. This is an image on the right. You can literally save the image or copy the image and post it into social media. So there it is. That's my game. It's daily, it's fun, and I can make the clues. It's fun for me because, you know, once, like the other game, Wordle, once you've invented it, there's nothing more to do. There's no fun at all whatsoever for the inventor. And I would say possibly for anyone else, because it could get a bit boring. And also an English student said to me that Wordle is probably quite difficult for a foreign learner. This one, I have fun making the clues every day. I have to think of 6 clues. They're not too easy. They're not too hard. They may be a little bit clever sometimes. So that's my thing. I hope you like it. Check it out, play it, and encourage your friends. Now, if you want to see all of the previous Fundles, go to the Fundle archives. Here they are. And then I'll get on to some other writing in this show, which is the Creative Blog and Article Writing Show, or Article and Blog Writing Show. There are the Fundle archives. So each chapter has 6 Fundles. So you click on chapter 1 and here comes the Fundles. Here come the Fundles. And what you've got with the Fundles is if you click on the button, you go off and play the Fundle. If you want to see all the questions, you click on See Questions. I'll show that quickly. Up, you can see all the questions there. So that's if you come back afterwards and you didn't need all the questions, but you want to know what they are. And then if you click there, you see the answer, but I'm not going to click on it. That would spoil the fun. So you've got everything you need afterwards to play, and you can see the answers as well. Of course, there's no point seeing the answers before you play. And if you do compare your scores, there's obviously no point cheating because because you could do the game again. I think you can, or maybe I put a limit on it. I'm not sure. So what do you think? What do you think of my new game, Fundle? I'd love to know, and I'd love even more to have you play it and tell me what you think. So that's one of the things I've been up to. And let's have another thing that I've been up to. These are my Paris photo chronicles. And as you know, they consist of an image, photograph, and a text. And the text is normally inspired by the photograph in some way. It's normally not the other way around. So the photograph gets done. I go to Paris. My Paris muse, Lady Eiffel, where is she? Lady Eiffel speaks to me and gives me ideas for the photographs, and I take the photographs. Then I go home, and then each day I sit down and I do my little bit of writing. It's like a ritual. It's even more of a ritual than brushing my teeth. If I don't brush my teeth, no, actually I do, but I feel bad. I've crossed over from having to force myself to do this writing every day to being irritable and annoyed and edgy if I haven't done it every day. And that's a nice thing to cross over to. And that's definitely something to aim for if you're someone who wants to make writing a regular part of your life. And one of the best ways to write productively and like often and get a lot of writing done in your life is to write regularly, have a regular daily writing habit. And that's what's happened to me. It kind of came upon me. I had to find the thing that I wouldn't get tired of writing. So I found my thing, and it's this, amongst other things. I do have another website for longer articles, which is called lazypig.com. And this has 4 categories. And I can go longer on this. I can go more in depth, and it's more on a specific theme. So I've got one, it's articles about creativity. Another is articles about productivity. Another about infinity. I call them bites. So infinity bites infinity, maybe you can imagine it's more about life, the universe, and everything. Creativity is about getting amazing ideas and capturing them. Productivity is ways of being more productive in life. And curiosity bites, it's weird and wonderful stuff, like non-categorizable, that wouldn't go in any of the others. Curiosity, some of the crazy stuff of life. So if you do click on one of these, it takes you off to, so this site's got pigs and Fundle has got frogs. Can you see a slightly worrying theme here? So there's a couple of articles in there already. Your art isn't worth the paper it's painted on. And the articles look like this. So I do write articles, and they look like that. So that's my claim for fame for writing articles at the moment. And my claim for writing regularly is, of course, my daily Paris Photo Chronicles. So the reason, let me just tell you the reason I called this group and this show Creative Blog and Article Writing. The reason for that is you're not actually restricted. So I could have called it creative short story writing or creative poetry writing or even creative article writing. But then I thought, first of all, I thought, what do I do? So what can I legitimately write about or talk to you about? And secondly, what doesn't actually limit you? And I thought, well, blog isn't a type of writing really. It's a place you put your writing, but you can put anything on the blog. You could put short stories on the blog. You could put articles on the blog about anything. You could put poetry on the blog. You could put memes on a blog. So those are my 4 things that I mention explicitly that I like to talk about: short stories, memes, poetry, and articles. Of course, there's some articles I wouldn't be interested in, some that I would, but you can see the ones I'm interested in, probably most of all from Lazypig, which was creativity, productivity, infinity, and curiosity. And that's kind of what comes out in this writing. Whatever the photo suggests to me, I let it take me, and immediately my brain gives me an idea for an article. It happens almost without fail. But I have no idea what it's going to be. And because I've chosen a format where there aren't any rules, except it has to fit in nicely onto the photograph without leaving an element of the photograph visible, normally, not always, I'm free to do whatever I like. And that's really why I haven't stopped. I'm on this particular daily project, because I've done others. I'm now on day, well, all I have to do is blow up one of these photographs and you can see more or less where I am. I'm on day number 1,512 in a row. That's quite good. That's more than 4 years in a row of daily writing and daily publishing an artistic photograph. So that's my claim to fame in terms of regularity. What do I write about? Any old stuff. I must admit, everything I publish in terms of words, I do consider it like a work of art. I will not let one punctuation mark out of place get by. I'll have to bring it back, correct it, and put it out there again. Having said that, I sometimes play with punctuation, but my philosophy is, if you see a punctuation mark that seems to be out of place, ask yourself why I did that, not, oh, he's made a mistake. So that's why I'm kind of fastidious about every single letter, every single word, every single punctuation mark being the way I want it. Because I don't want silly little technical errors to get in the way of the meaning of what I'm trying to communicate to you. And then it's a mixture of about 3 or 4 things. One, it could be really just commenting the photograph, this curiosity of Paris or something. One, it could be about life, the universe, and everything. It could be something personal that's happened to me, a little anecdote. Could be often a kind of humorous take on not just Paris life. It could be life in general, some of the craziness that human beings get up to. It can be happy or it can be sad. And I honestly don't know what's going to come out. And it can be poetry. I'm going to read you a poem later, a couple of poems actually. You'll see quite a stark difference between the 2 or 3 poems that I'm going to share. This one, for example, I'm just going to read you a selection. Please say hello if you're watching. I'd love to know, on the replay as well. So this is just to give you a flavor of how I write and what tends to come out from a photo. I'd love to know what inspires you. Is your writing linked to images or photos, or is it completely divorced from them? That's not even, images aren't even a part of it. It's purely you and your thoughts. Or maybe you go somewhere, you go into nature to write. What is it that sparks you? What sparks me is my photographs, and of course everything else I've been living recently. So let me read a few things to you. Let me just get rid of this bar. I don't need this bar here. So just check out this photograph to start off with. It's pretty spooky photograph, isn't it? If you look at it. And then I said, high in the wooded Paris mountains, a brooding citadel beckons. They call it a belvedere, really. And the rocky outcrop, its atop is somewhat artificial, or let's say dynamite played a large part in its careful construction. Yesterday, the place was a gypsum mine and a limestone quarry, providing raw materials for the maison de haute standing, or fancy townhouses, in the beau quartier, the posh quarters, if you could afford it. The day before, however, was a little darker. Instead of a charming Temple de la Sibylle, which is the little thing you can see up on the top of the mountain outcrop thing, instead of that, the heights were crowned by a much more sinister structure, the fearsome Gibet de Montfaucon. Gulp. This was the heavily populated gallows and gibbet, which the French kings, up until Louis XIII, used to remind the recalcitrant that if they emmerded, or pissed off the powers that be, they'd be hanging around a little longer than expected. Maybe Macron's thinking of bringing it back for the anti-vaxxers. In a recent interview somewhere, Macron said he'd like to piss off the anti-vaxxers, or something along those lines, those who aren't getting vaccinated. So I was wondering if he'd like to bring this back to string them up if they don't get vaccinated. So I'm trying to link the history of this place, what you can see today, and a little bit of what the French call actuality or current affairs, threading it all into this piece with as many interesting lexical structures as I can, not repeating words, not repeating adjectives, and playing around with the language if I can. It could just be the sound of the language without really knowing why it sounds nice, or it could be literally lots of alliteration, or there aren't any rhymes in here. Often rhymes pop into my writing, even if it's not a poem, which is nice. I like it. That's part of my style. I put quite a bit of French in here. I don't normally, but because if you put French in and people don't know what it is, then you're going to lose them, or they're going to feel frustrated. So I might put the translation into English in brackets, or if it's really obvious what it is, then I leave it. So for example, emmerder, it means to piss off people, so that people need to know that. But maison de haute standing, yeah, is fancy townhouses. Beau quartier, I didn't translate. I thought people might know what that means. You know, beau is quite a common, we know what that means probably in many circles in the English world. And quarters is like, quartier is like quarters, so the fancy districts. And then a sort of play on words at the end with Macron's sort of recent thing, which caused a bit of a kerfuffle, and linking it to the kings. So there was that. That was one thing that popped out. Then what else is there? This is a funny one. This is words on the wall on a metro sign. And this is what it's, well, I'm in the embarrassing position this 14th of February of having nothing more romantic to offer you than a sticker on a Paris metro sign saying, "Please, could you stop being so unbelievable sexy? Sick." This just after reading one of those Black women empowerment sacred goddess step into your super sole purpose you go girl Instagrammers saying, if he don't show you at least a little bit of real love on this day, he ain't worth jack. I'm feeling a bit nervous because I ain't got jack planned, but there's still time, I guess. And what's wrong with being unbelievable sexy anyway? It's never done me any harm. Sick with a K. That's me purely playing around with words, but also, you know, just finding these crazy words on a metro sign. It literally said, please could you stop being so unbelievable sexy? Why? Why is it there? Who put it there? What does it mean? What's going on? Is it to make us feel good as we're walking around? It's kind of cool. I like it. And that one, I did repeat. A repeat offender. And it says, I couldn't resist giving you another look at this one. This is very rare that I would put the same thing, but it's not exactly the same photo. I prone, is that the right word? Uniqueness. Don't ever do the same thing twice, unless you've got a very good reason for it, or you're referring back. That's okay. But so I couldn't resist giving you another look at this one. After When Lady Eiffel Smiles number 1506, I just showed you. The little message on the metro sign being just so out there, despite its bad English, because it says, it tells you. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I could tell you that the please could you stop being so unbelievable sexy message was directed at me personally. I wish. I could try to convince you that there's a pleasing contrast between the warm red and yellow and the cooler blue. I won't. Or I could even impress you with the history of this particular cutout style of station signalling. Already done that ages ago. Don't repeat. So I'll simply let this one lie for what it is. And it is what it is, right? At least it's clear which city we're in. But then again, you probably knew that already too. So some of my stuff is profound and some of it is pretty unprofound at all, just playing around. I'll show you this one and I'll just read what I said. Another highly inappropriate Paris piece for publication. Paris piece for publication on or around Valentine's Day. But remember, it's not me, it's Lady Eiffel that comes up with these ideas. I'm just the cameraman and dutiful scribe. I'm somewhat disturbed by the lady's upper body garment. Not that that's the first place I looked, you understand, which seems to be completely invisible, save for a frillyish upper edge, like a kind of frayed washing line, I wonder. Heck, I don't know. Never mind, though. At least Jesus loves me. Yes, me. So maybe my shameful leering over crude pencil drawings will be forgiven. Although, as literary heroes go, I'd far rather be in Winnie the Pooh's good books than the famous Bearded Wonders. No disrespect to Pooh intended, of course, who is, as we all know, a real bear. There was another one. Did somewhere else I talked about this? It's a book thing where people put old books and they can take books they fancy as well. And it's amazing. It's really cool. Do look into this. I think I talked about this. I had another photograph somewhere. I don't think I've published it yet. It was me holding an incredibly old book. Here it is. It was me holding this amazingly old book, which was found in one of these little outside book boxes. So much character. Just look at that. I do love taking photographs of me with books. And I recommend you do it. Here's another one. The Path. A new way to think about everything, which is kind of cool. Check it out, The Path. You might find a new way to think about things. And I need to reread it, actually. It's about ancient Chinese philosophers and how they basically knew it all, had seen it all, 3,000 years ago or 2,500 years ago or something like that, way before all the other, newfangled modern day prophets and all the rest of it came along. They'd worked it all out. Without the need to worship all sorts of nonsense and all that. So check out the ancient Chinese philosophers. Pretty cool stuff. And here's another one found in a place I often go as I'm passing by. And each time I go in, do you know where this is? Each time I go in, I go upstairs to the little library. It's in a bookshop, but this is a library. You can't buy the books. You can't take them away. They're just sitting there. I always grab a book, almost at random from the shelves, and I take a photograph of myself with it. Unfailingly, there's something interesting that comes out of it. This is called Witch's Breed. Something about the family of Salem. Wasn't the Salem witches or something? A witch story. So check your surroundings out. There's always crazy stuff going on in those little book things. Wherever there are books, there are strange things going on. Now here's a bit of writing, and let me read this for you. Lo, the Catholics have a sense of humor. Would you credit it? It is possible. Now this is what it says. It is possible that upon entering this church, you will hear the call of God. The sign on the door piously informs us. However, it goes on, it is highly improbable that he'll contact you by mobile phone. No disrespect intended to the worshipping ones, but I don't think I owe them much of it either. What am I talking about there? Something about respect. Yeah, or disrespect. I won't go on with that, but isn't it cool to have something funny like that on a church door? Unexpected. Didn't know they had senses of humor. So there's funny little bits of words everywhere, and they're just waiting, begging to be played with. Now, here's something a little bit more historic, which I'll share with you. What have you written lately, by the way, if you're watching this? What's the last thing you wrote? Now, I often say to people, if you're a writer, or any sort of creative person, I say, oh, great, that's really good. What have you created this week? And that's kind of my litmus test to see if they really create or if they'd like to. And I'm looking for something they've created today or something they've created this week. Longer than 1 week, well, that could be an awful long time. The next sort of major milestone is in a month. So I say, look, create every day. And if that's not possible, either because you don't have time or you don't have enough to write, you just want to do it once a week, do it once a week. That's great. Writing once a week, that's 52 potential pieces of writing in a year. That's good. More than that, forget it. No, don't forget it, but we won't be working together. I need people who are writing regularly, creating regularly. And it's for your own good, because if you say you want to be a writer, you should be writing. It's not that hard to pick up a pen and a piece of paper and do this. Look, I do it all the time. Okay, that's not really writing, that's notes. But the point is, most people who say they want to write really do want to write. But there's only one way to sort of move on from there if what you say is true, and that's to start writing. So I'm pretty unrelenting on this. Write every day or write at least once a week. And then it's clear. You know that you're a writer. You know you're writing regularly. More than that, you go more than that, you can leave it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 months, 4 years. So this is part of my daily practice, which I encourage everyone to do. Never surrender. Maybe I need to show you this picture as well. Here's the picture that inspired this. What have you been inspired to do recently? Sorry if you're commenting, but sometimes I have problems with the comments. So do say hello if you can. And if I don't see your comments now, hopefully I'll see them afterwards. There's a statue with some legs, and on it, superimposed on it, it says, "We shall never surrender." Winston Churchill, London, the 4th of June, 1940. And that inspired this. I think it's quite literal. It's not particularly artistic, what I wrote. Never surrender is a bellicose battle cry to bolster timorous spirits. Oh, maybe I made a mistake. It is a little bit, bit flowery, isn't it? A bellicose battle cry to bolster timorous spirits. Didn't he say never, never, never give in? Even in peacetime, we can feel like the odds are against us, or that we've been dealt a dud hand and could sorely use some stirring pep talk. Imagining the whole universe pitted against us, conspiring to confuse and constrain until our inevitably miserable demise, probably isn't that helpful or true, but it can often seem that way. So I think I've drifted into some kind of self-help treatise here. The solution I've found to alleviate a bit of this crippling doom and gloom is to simply be glad I'm able to create the things I do. It wasn't that way for my forebears during the Blitz. So what have I really got to complain about? Oh, and to get 99% of my pleasure and satisfaction from producing stuff, sharing it, and learning from what happens next. In other words, not getting 99% of my pleasure from the millisecond that I actually finish whatever I've been working on. To get the pleasure from it constantly throughout the day, throughout the weeks. Today, at the moment, I'm creating 81 little squares, painted squares, to go on the walls of Paris. It's a bit of a pain, to be honest, layer after layer after layer of this. Today I did a circle on each one. That's it. 81 circles with paint, which was difficult to go in the right place. So not very exciting, but I liked it. I considered it a therapeutic activity. I was listening to music maybe, and I knew that this was part of the final thing. Without this circle, the whole thing would, the French say, tomber à l'eau, fall into the water. So I did my circles, and I got 2 or 3% worth of pleasure from doing my little circles. I've got a comment from somebody. Hello, somebody. Dorothy, hello. I write almost every day for myself. That's fantastic, Dorothy. Such a good habit. Doesn't matter if it's for yourself, for others. I know that some of the times you publish it, sometimes you don't. That's wonderful. I'm going to show you these little, well, I'll show you one of them because they're all the same. My little squares. So my little squares look like this. You ready for it? Don't get too excited. Don't know if it wants to focus. Can I make it focus? Focus on the pen or something? There you go. So that's what my little squares look like. And that's the circle I told you about. And that took me about 2 hours to do 81 of those. And it was kind of boring, but I did it. And I'm pleased. So moving on, the solution okay, here we go. So never surrender to the poison of other people's opinions. That's the thing, you see. Don't let the other people's opinions be the thing that are going to give you 99% of your satisfaction or payback. Make that 1%. Make the 99% everything up until you finally share it. And Dorothy is saying, wow. So I'm not sure if you're saying wow because you're probably not saying wow because it's so amazing, because it's just a funny little square. But wow, maybe for the dedication to do 81 of these little circles. And you might, if you look at this, it seems quite simple, but there's about 5 layers of different colored paint on there. Anyway, I won't go into details on that. So never surrender to the poison of other people's opinions, and keep offering the best of you and only you, and your salvation will find you. That's almost sounding a bit religious, isn't it? Yeah, just do your best. Play your little note in the symphony of life the best you can, and that's all you need to do. Place your little jigsaw piece the best you can, and if everybody else does the same, it'll be a big, beautiful puzzle. I'm going to finish this. I'll finish with this. Finish this bunch of pictures. This is a poem of sorts. It's me superimposed on a tree that was crashed, that was broken. I don't know. I think there was a very strong wind and the tree fell over. So you can see this bit of tree shards slashing through my face. You can just about see my eyes though. And this poem is a bit of frivolous fun, and one that I will read to you at the end of the show is a bit less frivolous fun. This is called Would You Believe It? And this is a good example of how I want every word to count, and whatever might seem wrong to you, well, that's exactly how I meant it to seem. Would you believe it? Okay, I don't need to explain to you. There's puns. There's poetry is what you want it to be. But well, explaining a poem in words, I forever say that this is a bit pointless. But sometimes I do want to, point out to you certain things just in case you haven't seen them, and then whether you think they're good. Anyway, would you believe it? The town where I live, Saint-Chéron. I've got to also remember the rhythm of this thing. The town where I live, Saint-Chéron, are surrounded by woods. Or maybe the woods is encloaked in a faint sarong. I should be wrong. But trees is wood, and woods is tree, you see. And try as I could, I can't for the life of me imagine being surrounded by a tree, not being a squirrel or a beetle, at least recently. But you never know. Maybe the wood's Norwegian. Hee hee. There's a song by the Beatles called Norwegian Wood. I hadn't read it beforehand, so I've lost the rhythm. There is a rhythm to all my stuff, and sometimes I forget what it is. The town where I live, Saint-Chéron, are surrounded by woods. I put are because there's a funny thing with wood and woods. Wood is the material, but wood is also a group of trees, and the trees are kind of in the middle of one tree is in the middle of a wood. And yet if you chop down a tree and cut it into little pieces, this is wood. So I thought that was kind of funny. You can kind of play with plural and singular. The town where I live, Saint-Chéron, are surrounded by woods. Or maybe the woods is encloaked in a faint sarong. I should be wrong. But trees is wood, and woods. You see, I can't even say it. I automatically want to say the correct thing, and not the on purpose mistakes I made. So. But trees is wood and woods is tree, you see, and try as I could, I can't for the life of me imagine being surrounded by a tree, not being a squirrel or a beetle, at least recently, but you never know, maybe the wood's Norwegian, hee hee. So that was a bit of fun, and maybe not for you, but it was fun for me. Now, what else can I show you? I'm going to show you a way I've linked my paintings to words. So I paint on 9 of these little squares together in a very special way, and I've imagined metaphors to go with these, because the painting itself the whole painting looks like this. It's in plastic, so the colors are. So in fact, this edge here matches up perfectly with this edge here. So I could actually move this edge, these squares along, and it doesn't matter, it continues. And the top carries on from the bottom. So that the bottom, boom, carries on there. So there's no beginning, no end. And because of that, I've made some metaphors. So I love combining the things I like. So I love painting and I love writing. So here is R. This is a French version. It says, Sab propose. I'm not sure if that's a mistake, actually. Propose. I did this very quickly for an exhibition, and I think it should be Sab proposes. Infinity squared, or infini deux, is French. No, of course, it's French. Sab propose. I'm going crazy. Sab propose. Infini deux, so infinity squared, métaphore pour la vie, metaphors for life, volume 1. And the metaphors, this is for people who adopted one of my puzzle paintings. And the metaphors look like this. So infinite possibilities. It's about the fact that you can arrange those little squares in an infinite number of ways, just like you can your life. So you might think that your life is kind of stuck in a rut, but in fact, no, you can change it. So there's a metaphor. I talk about how the puzzle is and how you can apply this metaphor, this as a metaphor to your life. So infinite possibilities. Here's another one. There are 9, just like the 9 squares of the painting. This one is called Fais-moi tomber, or knock me over, or knock me down. The point is, with my little paintings, you can knock them down, the little ones on the desk size, knock them down easily, and all the squares are scattered all over. Well, we get knocked down in life as well. And you can pick it up. You pick it up, you put it back together. But because my puzzles are a bit strange and there's no real order, you could put it back together and it's in a different order. So you're not the same. It's not the same as when it was knocked down, but it's still okay. It's still integral. It's still whole, but it might have taken on a slightly different form. So that's a nice metaphor for life as well. We get knocked down, we brush ourselves off and get ourselves back on our feet again. We're not exactly the same, but we're still fine. Here's another one. It's called Connectés tous, or we are all connected. Every puzzle piece, you see there's 9 little squares there. Every puzzle piece is connected on all 4 sides. So this side, and this side, obviously. But also this side here is connected to this side. So they're all connected, and we are all connected as humans. So that's my puzzle. All the pieces are connected on all sides. And this is the metaphor. We are all connected. We're connected to everybody else in the whole wide world. Of course, we seem to be connected to our parents particularly closely, brothers and sisters, our children. But to be honest, that's just 1 degree of closeness. And then there are other degrees going out very quickly to embrace all of the human race, and then all of animals, and then all of life, and then all of everything. So I like the fact that this shows that we're all connected. So the ideas with my puzzle paintings is that it reminds you of these things on a regular basis. I'll just give you a couple of others. Life is a puzzle. So my paintings are puzzles. You can turn them over face down, and then you can quickly turn them over and try to put it together as quickly as possible. And I can't remember the metaphor. It's something about life being a puzzle as well. And we are playing our part. We've got our own little puzzle piece to play. And I'll give you one more. There are 9 of these, 9 metaphors to go with 9 puzzle pieces. Okay, this one is 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗚 𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗜𝗖𝗟𝗘. So you like it or not. And that is that you don't have to, not everyone has to like it. You know, this is what I did this day. And you can like it or you can not like it. And if you like it, that's great. And if you don't, well, that's okay. It's not a problem. We all have personal preferences. And our lives are like that. Some things we do will please others. Some will not please them. But is that why we're doing them? No, probably we should be doing them for us, to please ourselves. And then people who like what we're doing will be attracted to us. So there's a bunch of writing inspired by pictures. How do you bring stuff together, like more than one discipline? Do you? Maybe you don't. Maybe you just write, or maybe you just paint, or maybe you try to combine them. I know we have one wonderful artist in the group called Kirsten, and she puts little pieces of snippets of words into her paintings, and it's very effective. I've got a kind of a half project. Well, it's a project that has started to turn around in my head, but that's where it is now. It's in my head, and I've bought a course by this woman called Julia Donaldson, and she writes books like this. This is 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗚 𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗜𝗖𝗟𝗘. I loved reading this with my son. We read it again and again. There was a song in it that we even used to sing together. And it looks like this. So a certain amount of text and some absolutely beautiful illustrations. And I would like to do something like this. I have this dream now of doing books like this based on Paris. This woman, she's done all of these. Look at these, just ridiculous number of bestsellers. The Gruffalo's Child, Stickman, 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗚 Monkey Puzzle, Tiddler, Zog. What the Ladybird Saw? Room on the Broom, incredible. My God, the number of times I've watched that film with my students, my children's students as well when I was fantastic books. And so I bought a course by this woman on writing this sort of book. And I've got this idea. Tell me what you think. It's an idea for Paris stories based on animals that live in Paris. Each animal lives in a very well-known part of Paris. So one animal might live on the Eiffel Tower, another in Notre Dame, another on the Arc de Triomphe, another in Sacré-Cœur, things like this. And each of them the idea is kind of slowly churning. Hello, Thomas. Thomas is here. Nice to have you here, Thomas. How are you doing tonight? What are you creating at the moment, Thomas? I'd love to know. And yeah, the idea that maybe the animals are actually running Paris and keeping it running without the humans actually knowing. So I don't know, maybe the rats they tidy up the litter, and otherwise Paris would be submerged in litter. To be honest, it's a little bit more gorier than that. I think they eat crap and stuff like that, but I'll try to tone it down for the kids. But I'd also like there to be a slightly, edgy element, a little bit of a naughty element, the sort that makes children laugh. Why children love it when, people fart and things like that. That sort of level, maybe. So I'm not sure where that's going to go. Because I like the number 9. I've got this idea for 9 books, 9 volumes of stories, where each story, it's about the Paris animals that look after Paris for us, who live in these famous places, but maybe under our noses, but we don't even see them, or we don't realize. And they have adventures, and sometimes they meet each other, but each book will be devoted to one of the heroes, the unsung heroes of Paris, and some adventure they have, and they need to call on the help of the other animals. And each animal has their sort of power. When I mean power, I don't mean like they get really strong. I mean something like a mouse is really small and could go places where other animals can't. And it might be the mouse that will rescue someone, as opposed to a big, strong animal. So those are my ideas. Thomas says, just finished watching day 4 video. Yes, I'm late. Oh, don't worry about that, Thomas. Good for you for catching up. Okay, so I won't go on for too much longer because you need to be doing the next thing. Dorothy is saying excellent ideas. Thank you, Dorothy. It's very nice of you to encourage me. And of course, I want to encourage you as well. So let's see your ideas in the masterclass class, because those that are watching here are in my masterclass, a creativity masterclass. Let me see your ideas, and by the next Zoom call, we will have the pages. I'm just going to do 1 page for each of you for the masterclass. 1 page with 9 squares, and each of those squares will represent a week. So some significant image or something for each of those squares. So it'll be all on 1 page this time, trying something different, because it was a huge amount of effort to have all of those different pages. So 1 page per person. Let's see those boxes fill in. And I've been doing something like that actually recently. I've been filling in boxes with a painting. Now this isn't about writing. I'll give you some more writing in a second, but I've been filling in. Can you see this? No, you can't see this. What am I sharing? Yeah, I've been doing this, you see. I've actually been filling in boxes. And this is a great way to motivate yourself. I published this. This is the same painting. I published this with 1 box filled in, the first one, right at almost the beginning of the process. I actually have to cut up the pieces of wood, sand down the edges. But this is the first part of the process that you can actually see something on the squares. This is the second and the third, with a bit of a white there. Here I added some blue jeans and some seed pods and some bits of the old railway of Paris. Here, the first layer of white to make the things uniform. Then, and to have a nice base for the brighter colors that come after. Then yellow. Now look, I almost completely covered the yellow in red, but there's tiny bits of yellow showing through. But it's not finished. I'm going to cover up the red. And so the red is covered up in blue and in yellow. Where's my square gone? So why did I bother with the white layer, the yellow layer? Why bother? Even the red layer. Could I have just started here? Well, I could have, but there's 2 reasons. One is the painting is richer if you put layers underneath. You see little bits of them. So for example, if you look here, I must admit, there wasn't much point possibly doing the white layer. But as I'll show you, there's a reason for it. You see, if you look at this, you can see the underneath the blue is the red, and you can see the red showing through there. And part of underneath the red was yellow, So it's not the same red as if there was no yellow underneath. And the yellow is brighter because there was white. There's another reason. And that reason is that this is about, it's not supposed to be political, it's supposed to be about humanity. The sadness that people are dying just because. And then fill in the dots. People are dying that weren't dying yesterday because someone decided that things weren't right the way they are. And the flags, if you see the blue here of the genes, and then the white, and then the red, that's the colors of the Russian flag. Blue, white, red. I put in yellow because I wanted the red to go on the yellow. And then I put some blue on top here and more yellow. So yellow and blue are the colors of the Ukrainian flag. So all of these colors of these different flags are mixed in between each other. Kind of, I don't know, the irony of it, you know, we're all the same, we're all human beings, and we can lie next to each other without hurting each other. And yet sometimes that isn't the case. So there are deep meanings in this as well, in this little square. I'm going to put it on the walls of Paris. I'm thinking of possibly offering some to some people if they want to adopt one or two, but most of them will go on the streets of Paris. And in there will be a face, some sort of face. Not a happy one, I'm afraid. And this way of publishing my progress, it kept me going, because my next step was not only to do the next step, but also to publish it and to show it to people. And this really boosted me. It was almost like finishing the piece and showing it to people. Every time I finished a step, I was able to publish it. Who cares? Maybe no one sees it, but the point was I published it. I saw my grid filling in square by square, and I've only got one to go now. And that is a way I motivate myself. It's external motivation. You don't have to have it, but it can really help if you tell people you're going to do something and they're waiting for it. So I didn't tell anyone that I was going to do this. I just did it. I just said, this is number 1 of 9. Then I published the next one. I put the new photo in and said, this is number 2 of 9. And for each step, I gave a little description. And you can do that with writing. You can share chapters. You can, maybe if it's a story, you might not want to do that, but you can certainly share it with people that you know. And I recommend that. Any trick, you know, you only need, that was the close-up of the latest. You only need one trick that works. Only one trick to get you creating. Only one trick to get you producing and finishing. Starting, continuing, and finishing. You just need one trick. In my masterclass, I give lots of tricks, but you only need one. And all you really need to do is to start, keep going, and finish. That's it. That's all you need to do. If you want to be someone who creates stuff and gets it out into the world, that's all you have to do. There's a time for doing nothing, time for relaxing, taking it easy. But ultimately, we want there to be times when we do get stuff out there. So that's what I try to focus on. And I'll finish by, I'm going to stop now because it's nearly at the hour. But maybe if there's something here, I might talk about it next week. Although there is one poem I wanted to read. And it goes with this photograph here. This photograph is me. It's a double exposure. It's one of those self-portraits, and it's me sitting, looking like I'm waiting for something or someone. It's kind of strange because it looks like it's on a platform, but in fact there are steps at the edge of the platform, so it's not a platform. Very, very strange. There's just seats in the middle of nowhere. And I came up with a poem, and I called this poem, if you would like to come up for me. Yeah, I call this poem Waiting for Christina, Liquid Lady. And it's someone who loves the water. I think she should have been born in the water rather than on land. She should have had a tail and flippers rather than legs and arms. And she's a great underwater photographer. she swims with dolphins and sharks, and she also paints beautiful pictures. And she's got this idea. She keeps saying to me that she'll come to Paris one day. I've known her for maybe 2 or 3 years now, and she still hasn't, which is fine. But I invented this sort of fantasy in my mind called Waiting for Christina, the liquid lady. And this is what I came up with. Waiting for Christina, liquid lady. As crazy waves go, I've known wilder rides. Lady Sen trundles through slowly to the rhythm of her tides. The metro's ebb and flow resides in me through currents low and high, awaiting mystic mermaid glow, with sweet Christina as my guide. The tricky trains leave and arrive, doors slam and slide, brakes hiss and heave, but ocean angels play with patience, and hunger my head befuddles. Promises of almond croissants trickle tepid to the ground, painting Paris puddles poignant when Christina's not around. So that was kind of an ode to Christina and me waiting for her to come and have the long-awaited almond croissant that she says she is absolutely in love with. So one day we're going to have almond croissants in Paris. Christina is currently fighting a very nasty and rare form of cancer at the moment. So we've all got fingers crossed for her. She's in Greece, Thessaloniki, and getting the best treatment that she can, that she thinks will be best for her, by a beautiful seaside with a couple of people that she knows. So, thinking of you, Christina. And on that note, I will leave you all for another 2 weeks on the writing theme. And I'll come back with more in a couple of weeks' time. So remember, it's next Tuesday will be, let's see if I can show you the banners. Next Tuesday at the same time, 8 o'clock my time, French time. Next Tuesday will be the Infinite Creativity Now show. Then next Thursday, that's in 1 week, it will be the Paris Set Me Free show. All the anecdotes and fun stories and goodness knows what about Paris that I can come up with. Then the next Tuesday will be the Creative Smartphone Photography show, everything about photography and what it means and how we can make it amazing. And finally, in 2 weeks' time, it'll be this again, Creative Blog and Article Writing show. So thank you for joining me. If you want to, don't forget my fundle. If you want to check out my fundle, which is, remember, let me just share this with you one more time, the Daily Fundle. Let me show you what it looks like when you reload the page. This is my word game, which is my antidote to Wordle. Maybe you like Wordle, maybe you don't, and I like it, but I think it's very, very samey. It's always the same. Check out my Daily Fundle. A word game every day, 6 clues. Each clue is different, of course. They're different from day to day. You cannot know what clues I'm going to come up with. So, and you get 6 goes to do it. All the clues relate to the same thing, so you get more and more information. Normally, you will get it by the end of the 6th one, by the 6th frog. You have 6 frogs to get it in. So check it out. It's my latest baby, the Daily Fundle at dailyfundle.com. Words, words, words. You can't beat them. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching the replay. Say hello if you watch the replay, and let me know what you're into. The weekly theme, I'm probably going to change the weekly theme now, change it to something else, and contribute any writing you have in the Creative Blog and Article Writing group on the new theme, and we'll take it from there. And if the theme will be the same in all the groups, so I'll change it probably on the day of the live. I'll change the theme, but it'll be the same theme for all groups over 2 weeks. So I'll have to think what that is. If you have an idea for the theme, let me know. Have nice evenings. Happy snapping if you're photographing. Happy writing if you're writing. Happy creating if you're creating. Take care with lots of love from Sab in Paris, and see you again soon.